début de cette dernière course de la journée pour la série Sports Canada Car Championship. J'ai le plaisir d'avoir à mes côtés pour les légendaires paroles du monde du sport automobile, Jessica Ménard, membre du conseil d'administration du Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières.
Pilotes, démarrez vos voitures. Drivers, start your engine.
And that is the word to fire up the engines for the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. Here's the vehicles lined up on the front straightaway. Once again, good evening, folks, and welcome to the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me in the booth is Todd Lewis as we get set to bring you the final race here today. As we get set to bring you the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. You can see the two groupings of cars. So the first group, the GT4 class cars, and that is comprised of the 4 of Justin DiBenedetto, the 10 of Jared Odrick in the Mercedes, and the 22 of Jack Polito. And boy, is there a story to go with that 22 of Jack Polito. He had won every single race of the season leading into the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, but in the first race competed here, he overcooked it in turn number 6, and Todd fired it into the tire wall on lap number 1 and retired early.
He was trying to keep Justin DiBenedetto, the 4 car, in sight. He had slipped back and was battling with the 10 of Jared Odrick. Tried to come up the inside of corner number 6. Got in too hot, as Dave mentioned, could not make the corner, stuffed it into the tire barrier, and did a whole bunch of damage underneath, and his day was done before even completing 1 green flag lap. The 10 of Jared Odrick managed to limp along and finish the race, but from there on, it was Justin DiBenedetto managing the rest of the race and going forward and claiming his first GT4 win of the season.
You can see the TCR class cars move through there, so they have the yellow number panel. The sides of the tail wings are also painted yellow. Their mirrors are also that bright yellow color. And the TCA class cars have the green number panel and the green mirrors. So the differences in the cars, the GT4s, a lot more horsepower, 450 horsepower. They have the loud, grunty engines, rear-wheel drive, adjustable aero, ABS and traction control, and 3,200 pounds. The TCR class cars down about 100 horsepower comparatively, but less overall weight, a little bit lower top speed, but a lot of the fun bits involved too. They do have adjustable aero. They have a 4-cylinder 2-liter turbo that is pumping out incredible amounts of boost. We're hearing upwards of 40 pounds of boost in those cars. And again, the yellow number panels. The TCA is the entry level, 190 horsepower, less weight, but lower top speed, and essentially a manual 6-speed gearbox, fixed ABS, a 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder. So the pace car is in, and we're going to do this in 2 packs. The first one will be the GT4 group, and the second will be the TCRs and the TCAs together. So the yellow flag indicates that the field needs to bunch up, and they've done just that. The green flag is out, and we are underway here in the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières.
Drag race down to corner number 1. Looks like the 10 of Jared Odrick is going to slip out in front and take the lead, but that 22 of Jack Polito is not letting him get away as the TCRs now take the green.
I think Polito might have come out in front of everybody, and he did, as both the 4 and the 10 slid wide into turn number 1. So Mark the 22 up into top spot. As disappointed as Jack Polito was in himself, the crew went to work and fixed that car. You can see white bodywork on the nose of that brand new Ford Mustang, and it is all brand new. The crew had a lot of work to do to get that car repaired as the TCR class gets sorted out behind the 69 of Jocelyn, or the 89, excuse me, of Jocelyn Hebert, who is the early race leader.
Good fight between the 4 and the 10 car. DiBenedetto in that 4 and the 10 of Jared Odrick, who are beating on each other just a little bit, as the 22 of Jack Polito has a little bit of space ahead of him, and that is bad news. It has proven to be in 6 of the 7 previous races with Jack Polito. When he gets out front, he tends to stay out front of the pack.
Jared Odrick, a relative newcomer to the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin, behind the wheel of that Mercedes AMG. A former first-round pick in the NFL, played for the Miami Dolphins and several other teams, and then moved on to acting, and now is a race car driver here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. So a roundabout way to be a race car driver, but he's here, and he's getting his feet wet in a very, very tough series.
DiBenedetto looks like he's getting a little frustrated behind that 10 of Jared Odrick. Was bouncing from the left side to driver's right, keeping the mirrors full and looking like he would like to find his way around. He for sure does not want to let Jack Polito run away in that Ford Mustang, as we're now watching the TCR cars sort themselves out.
Yeah, the TCR is led by Jocelyn Hebert. It does have a pretty decent margin over the 84 of Richard Boak. And an interesting story about Boak as well. He was leading for a lot of it, running inside the top 5, top 3, and all of a sudden that car went into limp mode and essentially wouldn't go for him anymore, and he just had to barely limp it home. But now he's got some, it looks like a tire rub maybe, but smoke definitely coming from the front end of that 84.
Yeah, just a little puff depending on which corner he happens to be going around, so we'll keep an eye on that, and certainly he does not want that to become any more problematic and any worse as the 4 of DiBenedetto continues to work over that 10 Mercedes AMG of Jared Odrick.
See what he can do. Catching the draft here towards turn number 6. There's an opportunity here, if you run the outside, not to pass on the outside of turn number 6. Watch DiBenedetto pinch it down and try and get that run off this corner a little bit better than the 10 of Jared Odrick. He doesn't do it that time as Odrick drifts out almost into the path that DiBenedetto needs to make the run into this turn number 8, and make a pass there. So another lap will click by. The 22 of Jack Polito, very quick out in front, 3.2 seconds ahead of this duo.
He had a look through corner number 8 and 9, but could not get it done. But he actually had a little nudge to the bumper of that 10 car of Jared Odrick. And now, as they go down the front straightaway towards the start-finish line, he is up the inside. And is he going to be able to get that car slowed down? No! Pitches it into the wall and takes out Odrick as well.
Odrick came right across the front, and huge damage to the front end of that Porsche Cayman 718 of Justin DiBenedetto. This will be a full course caution with a car sitting crossways in turn number 1, but Jared Odrick leaving no space for the the Porsche of Justin DiBenedetto, essentially just pushing him into the inside wall. DiBenedetto was right up to the door, and I don't know what to say. I mean, he was there, and Odrick obviously just didn't see him. I don't know if he didn't look in his mirror. Maybe he didn't have his mirror anymore.
I don't know. We'll hopefully get another look at that replay, but that's significant damage to that 4 car of Justin DiBenedetto, climbing out in frustration as he had pulled up along the driver's right side. As you mentioned, he was up alongside the door and was as far right as he could possibly be. I don't know if he would have been able to make that corner at corner number 1, and he got pinched into the wall before the 2 of them were even really through that corner. So you can find a little bit of fault probably with both drivers, and we'll get another look at it. But look how far up DiBenedetto is, and Odrick tries to make the corner. I'm not sure he was going to make that corner regardless, but both of them end up damaged, but DiBenedetto certainly got the worst of that.
Yeah, that's heartbreak for the Ford team of Justin DiBenedetto. They had a lot of patchwork to do on that Porsche after the streets of Toronto. And unfortunately for him, he got involved in an incident there that badly damaged that car. This one seems even worse. He's hit on both the left and right front. And there you can see that's the team looking on from Justin DiBenedetto, and the helmet's still on, and he's got to be frustrated underneath that that helmet as DiBenedetto sort of keeps throwing up his hands. He's trying to find answers, but you won't find them looking at a banged up race car, that's for sure. Have a look at how far up he was. Essentially to the door. And that's a heavy, heavy hit. Odrick was lucky that it didn't carry him into the wall as well, because that could have easily happened. But look at where the tire mark starts on the door of the 10 car. And if you're Justin DiBenedetto, you're there and you think, he's got to see me. I'm here.
Absolutely. When you're that far alongside a competitor headed toward the corner, the car you're passing should cede the corner to you. Jared Odrick, and maybe this is a bit of an experience and only racing in his third, now fourth event in the SCCC, and not really aware, and again, getting carried away with the speed heading into corner number 1. On their own, I'm not sure either of those cars would successfully have made that corner.
Yeah.
But with them both together, there was absolutely no hope that either driver was going to make it through.
DiBenedetto with 25 races to his credit in the Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. 5 wins in his career, including already here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. So he goes from the top step of the podium and all smiles to all frowns, unfortunately, as we continue under a full course caution. So DiBenedetto has the helmet off now, and it's resting on top of that car. I'm not sure if they're cleaning up. There was a pretty wide track of fluid that went into the runoff area from the Porsche Cayman 718 GT4 car of Justin DiBenedetto. So they're likely just getting that mopped up before they let these cars go back to green. But interesting story for Jack Polito, who had a wreck on his hands already here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. The crew feverishly worked to get that car put back together. They, as a matter of fact, a couple hours before the start of this race, the crew was really not sure whether or not the 22 car would be out for this event. And then they thought, well, maybe we'll go out and start and see how it goes. And then it all sort of came together, and now all of a sudden Jack Polito is leading. He's got the quickest lap so far of the event, and the 22 looks just fine, thank you very much.
Well, and think about this in the championship perspective as well. Jack Polito had ripped off 6 victories to start this season, and Justin DiBenedetto earlier today scored a win, his first of the season, to at least keep a glimmer of a championship hope alive. With this early exit and only a few rounds left, those hopes are dashed.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you look at the margin in the point standings coming into this weekend, and there's several races to be run over the course of the weekend. In GT4, Jack Polito had a perfect 240 points. Justin DiBenedetto had 135 points. So really, it was going to take something special for Justin DiBenedetto to catch Jack Polito in the point standings. And obviously, it started well. It's not going to end the same way it started.
No, and Jack Polito was bold at the start of this race under the initial green flag to jump out in front and get the lead, and he seemed very determined to stay there. And it was almost as if you could see Justin DiBenedetto behind the 10 car of Jared Odrick, who was getting antsy back and forth. He went from driver's left to driver's right, looking for a way around. Seemed as though he had found it heading into corner number 1 before the contact between the two. The contact in the wall put Justin DiBenedetto out. It looks like the 10 will be able to continue and soldier on, just as he did in the race earlier today.
Yeah, Jocelyn Hebert is your race leader in the TCR class over Richard Boak in the 84. Anthony Martella, again, the teenager in the 95, is holding down 3rd spot in the TCR class. Tom Kwok, Jonathan Young, Ron Tomlinson, Megan Tomlinson. That is your top runners in the TCR class. Gary Kwok, who is very much a factor here in the point standings in the TCR class. Matter of fact, he came into this race weekend 2nd in points. Gary Kwok unable to make the call for this race. That car was showing a little bit of smoke in race 1, but obviously the problems are terminal. And then you look at the TCA class, and Robert Cipriani Dietrich ahead of Eric Kuntz. Peter Hansen Megan Leahy. Now, we haven't talked about the driver of the 26 too much, but Megan Leahy is making her first starts of her TCA career here at a very difficult facility at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. Megan Leahy, a 24-year-old from Ottawa, running the MD Motorsports number 26 that had been campaigned by Chloe Drummond for the first half of this season.
Right, and this is the next step in her career. She has some experience running sports cars in other disciplines, but this will be her first weekend in the Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. It's something that drivers will do as well as they start to explore new opportunities, get into an event or two later on in the season, become accustomed and familiarize yourself with the series and how it operates, some of the other competitors, get to know them a little bit before mounting a full campaign the following season is the way some approach it. It's a bit of a test, it's a bit of a learning experience, and it's amazing how beneficial it can be to get a couple of races in before you start a full year campaign.
It's like a trial run, right? You're trying on a pair of shoes before you go home with them. That's what the drivers are doing, and we've seen it several times. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, that's exactly what Jack Polito did. His dad was campaigning that number 22 Ford Mustang, a different Ford Mustang, but 2 races to go, both at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and Jack Polito jumped behind the wheel and he won both of them, and he hasn't turned back since. I mean, he's been very, very quick in that car, nearly winning every race that he starts. He is that competitive, and it was a shock to see him sitting into the tire wall in turn number 6 here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. But the schedule in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin, as you mentioned, Todd, doesn't have too many events left on it. One more at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, that one coming up August 30th to September 1st. And that'll do it for the SCCC. The M-Zone Radical Cup Championship will have a one-off weekend at Mont-Tremblant, September 26th to 29th. So that's all in the FEL umbrella. The Radicals not running here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, but not for lack of trying by the organizers of the Sports Car Championship Series.
Looks like we're going to get back to green as the pace car is pulled off. Jack Polito in that 22 is out in front of the field, followed by the 89 of Jocelyn Hebert, Richard Boak, and Anthony Martella. All 3 of those are TCR cars. Tom Kwok rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, so Polito is all by himself, but yet he controls the pace of the entire field, and he should be able to squirt away from the TCR class cars in the early going. The green flag waves once again. We're back underway, but look at this field fan out heading towards turn number 1. Look at Boak moving up the inside. He'll take over top spot in the 84, relegate the king of the streets of Trois-Rivières, Jocelyn Hebert. Nobody has stepped on the podium more times than the driver of the 89. He's still in a podium position, but now in second.
Easy to see the speed of that 22 of Jack Polito as he's pulling out a bit of a distance on that long straightaway out towards, heading now towards corner number 6. The 84 of Richard Boak has gotten ahead of the 89, but Jocelyn Hebert is not letting him get away. And oh, there's the 10 car of Jared Odrick that has suffered a little more damage, it looks like, as the result of a bit of contact.
That's in the Duplessis Gates, turn number 3. A very tight area of this track, but yeah, it looks like contact with the wall. A tire potentially down on the Mercedes AMG number 10. You saw Megan Tomlinson get all kinds of loose coming out of that corner as well, and she avoided any contact with concrete, which is good. But the Polito Racing number 22 Multimatic Motorsports prepared Ford Mustang out in front, and Jack Polito now with a gap back to this battle in the TCR class of 3 seconds. But essentially Polito can do what he wants. He doesn't have any challengers in the vicinity, and it looks like the number 10 of Jared Odrick continues to fall down the running order as well, so he's likely gone pit side.
Understandable that he would make that call after having some contact. Let's have a look at it here, and he's veered off to the inside as well, and there is no way that you're going 3 wide through that area. I don't know if Jared Odrick had a problem that was taking his car to driver's left, but that was not a recipe for success.
No, and that's why Megan Tomlinson was all kinds of out of shape on the exit of turn number 3. Tomlinson able to hang on to it. Odrick catching the wall, and it looks like his day is done in the 10, so he's all the way down in 14th. There he is right there, so limping back to the pit area. You can see the front wheels pointing in different directions, so not ideal for speed in that Mercedes AMG, but what we have here building at the front of the TCR class is something special, with Richard Boak leading Jocelyn Hebert and Anthony Martella. Now Ron Tomlinson has moved around the 95 of Anthony Martella. Tomlinson was leading into the dying moments of an earlier race here at the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières, looking for his very first career victory in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada. And boy, would it be a party in the pits. Everybody likes Tomlinson. Everybody wants to see him do well, and he nearly had it in race number 1, coming just a little bit short.
I'll tell you that he still had his sense of humor after the race. I saw him briefly after the race, and I said, Ron, I thought you had that one. And he looked at me and said, so did I. That's Jared Odrick, who is out of that number 10 Mercedes AMG after the second round of contact. That is, if you saw that car earlier today before any of the racing action, it's a beautiful looking gold color. It's not super shiny, super flashy. It has undergone a lot of abuse today, and it's not looking quite as glamorous as it did earlier in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a well-loved race car at this point, and it'll get put back together, and it'll be back out for future events for sure. The VPX Motorsport team does a great job at preparing their vehicles, and now look, Tomlinson, heavy braking, turn number 1, will take over second spot in the TCR class, relegating Jocelyn Hebert down to 3rd. So now the chase is on to your race leader, Richard Boak, who is just ahead. So it's a pair of Audis now, 1 and 2, the Honda in 3rd, back to another Audi in the 95 of Anthony Martella.
Textbook pass from Ron Tomlinson, who pops out at the last minute, makes the pass, and then slips back into the optimum racing line. And he has really started to reel in that 84 of Richard Boak as well. And this is almost following the pattern from the earlier race here we had at GP3R, as he was kind of back in the pack, running 3rd or 4th in the TCR category. But that car came alive as the race went along, and we're now nearing the midway point, and his race car is once again coming alive and well within the sights of the 84 of Richard Boak.
Yeah, he was 0.4 of a second quicker that last time by. It looks like he's even quicker this time, catching the 84 of Richard Boak. But the Tomlinson Motorsports number 48 runs it out of turn number 11 onto the front straightaway, and once again chasing. And Tomlinson, yes, 0.2 of a second quicker than Boak that last time by. So you're right, the gap at the front is getting even tighter. This is the race for the lead in the TCA class, and it's been all Robert Cipriani Dietrich this entire run. In the 5 car, Eric Kuntz holding down 2nd, and Felix Kwok, who had a run-in with the wall in the first stop here at the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières, is up into 3rd spot. So a good rebound for that team.
It was a great battle between the 5 of Robert Cipriani Dietrich and the 25 of Eric Kuntz in race number 1 here at Trois-Rivières. They swapped the lead back and forth a number of times before late in the going the 5 popped out, took over the top spot one more time from Eric Kuntz, and held on to score that victory. It's a little bit bigger of a gap between the 5 and the 25 here in race number 2. It is cruise control right now for the 22 of Jack Polito, who is just making laps and waiting for that checkered flag to fall.
Yeah, essentially has no other combatants out on the track. Jared Odrick, Justin DiBenedetto both out of this race, and Jack Polito would love to win the overall, and why not? He's got a 10.3 second lead over this now. The battle for the lead in the TCR classes. We're getting some great shots from the truck. Watching Richard Boak defending against the 48 of Ron Tomlinson. And Tomlinson is pressuring, and you can see Boak is pushing because he took that car right out to the concrete wall on the exit of turn number 3. And will he do the same here in turn 6? Potential for Tomlinson to get a run. If he can make it work on the outside of turn number 7, that is beneficial because it puts you on the inside of turn number 8. Turn 7 is not much of a turn. It's more of a kink, and Tomlinson is there. He had a peek. He filled that mirror. Boy, did he ever.
Just letting him know that he's there. Didn't really make a big lunge up the inside, but he was very close to that back bumper on driver's left for Richard Boak, and they remain nose to tail going through corner 10 and 11 and headed towards the start-finish line. And I don't know that Ron Tomlinson will make the lunge into corner number 1, but he is continuing to hunt that 84 of Richard Boak.
Speaking of hunt, look at this now, a battle for 3rd and 4th between Jocelyn Hebert and Anthony Martella. So as these two battle at the front of the field, that's allowing those two to catch up, but then they start dicing amongst themselves. The gap gets bigger again. So Jocelyn Hebert is able to catch Ron Tomlinson, but then has to defend against Anthony Martella, who's hungry to get back on the podium.
Boy, it is a good battle between all 4 of these cars, sometimes nose to tail. The 48 slips up to the inside of corner number 6, gets through on the left-hander. Ron Tomlinson takes over top spot in TCR, and the 84 now feeling the heat from the 89 of Jocelyn Hebert.
Yeah, Boak knew his turkey was cooked in that one. He had to get hard on the brakes and allow the 48 to get through, but he might have braked a little bit too hard, and it nearly cost him a couple positions. Might have dropped him all the way off the podium, as the 89 of Jocelyn Hebert is right there and knocking on his door. But Boak playing a lot of defense, and now the 48 of Ron Tomlinson, who was really a couple tenths of a second a lap quicker than the 48 the last couple times by. That time an 111 flat compared to a 112.2. Ron Tomlinson to Richard Boak. That's how much quicker the 48 is over the 84. Tomlinson is on the move.
That is following pattern for race number 1 here at the GP3R, with Tomlinson, who took a few laps for that car to come in, but boy, once it does, he has got plenty of speed, demonstrated it running down Richard Boak, and then with a smooth move up to the inside of corner number 6. And now Anthony Martella having a look up to the inside of the 89 of Jocelyn Hebert, and he makes the move stick.
Yeah, good gentleman move by both those drivers, as well as Jocelyn Hebert waited until the 95 and made his way through that corner, and Martella didn't really drive it too far and hang out the 89 in that corner too far. But now we have another Audi chasing another Audi. So Martella, the youngster, chasing the veteran Richard Boak. Martella hungry for another win. And there's your overall race leader, the 22 of Jack Polito, as he works through some lap traffic. He's now into the TCA class as he made his way around the 25 of Eric Koontz. And next up is the 5 of Robert Cipriani Dietrich, who's about 4.5 seconds. There, you can see him. So that's how quickly he makes up 4.5 seconds when you're in a more powerful car.
And that is sports car racing, is multi-class racing, is you have different cars with different speeds and different horsepower ratings. And Jack Polito gives a little flash of the lights to let the 5 car know that he is coming through, and easily gets by and navigates his way through. The 48 car of Ron Tomlinson continues to lead in TCR, the 95 of Anthony Martella, and oh, we've got one in the wall now. That is the 26 car of Megan Leahy in the TCA class that has gone into the wall.
I think that's on the, is that the exit of turn number 6? I believe it is the exit of turn number 6. So that's that bump that has caught out a couple of the drivers, and Megan Tomlinson also into a tire wall. That's in the runoff area, I believe. Potentially in turn 6 as well. A lot of that fluid, I was going to say, came out of the tires. I think it's a combination of both, because I did see some steam coming from the front end of that number 38. Full course caution has been called.
And 15 minutes remaining in this race number 2 here at the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières for the Sports Car Championship Canada. The marshals and safety workers checking on Megan Tomlinson in that 38 car, and I wonder if it was a coming together between those two, the TCR car of Megan Tomlinson and the TCA car of Megan Leahy in the 26, because the 26 seemed to be in a rather odd position to come through corner number 6, and I wonder if there was just a little bit of contact between those two.
It would make sense if that's what happened, because you're right, it was an odd spot. It's almost like that car had to hook back and come back across the racetrack in order to catch that inside wall off of turn number 6. But Either way, a full course caution with 14 minutes to go in this 40-minute timed race for the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada. And the question remains, who's going to reach the Braden Motorsport podium here in the SCCC today. And have another look. So there is the 26 of Megan Leahy goes around. So you just caught that bump and it just kept going. I think she thought it was going to straighten out and it just never did. So that's a great shot and a great replay to explain exactly what happened. So no contact there. It was just, again, the bump, the back end came around and contact with the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really get a good look at how severe that bump is in corner number 6 and how far it can pitch the car out of the racing line as you navigate your way through. If you're on the accelerator, if you're on the brake at the wrong time, it can really upset the balance and the handling of that car. And there's Megan Tomlinson, who is out and appears to be okay after her number 38 TCR car is finished for the day.
Yeah, smiles a little bit anyway. You can see she's trying to explain to the safety team what had happened and how to get the car back to the paddock area. But yeah, so a disappointing finish for a driver. Had a great save earlier in this race after contact from the 10 of Odrick in the turn 3 area in the Duplessis gates. It had that car very much crossways and kept it off the concrete wall. And unfortunately, this time, the same save could not be made. But she'll get a ride back to the paddock area, and the car will get a lift back as the cleanup crew continues. Again, continuing under caution. There is a lot of time allotted to get this all cleaned up. You can see the hood is already up on that Audi RS3 TCR car. 12 minutes now left on the clock here in the 40-minute timed race for the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada. Jack Polito, your leader overall. You can see a couple of the TCA cars, actually a few of the TCA cars, there's 3 of them, all trapped behind the GT4 class, and that's fine. They'll leave them there. They're not going to change that because Robert Cipriani-Dietrich and Eric Kuntz and Felix Kwok, they're all battling for a podium position. Peter Hansen is not too far behind there as well. So yeah, leave them, let them complete their battle, because really, what does it matter if Jack Polito starts in front of the TCRs or starts at the back of the pack? You know what I mean at this point?
No, absolutely. With that significant advantage in horsepower and speed, Jack Polito should pull away from that battle in very short order once we do get back to green flag racing. And they removed that 38 car and the 26 of Megan Leahy as well. And it won't be an issue for the battle in the TCA category. They'll be able to continue their fight head-to-head between Eric Kuntz and Robert Cipriani-Dietrich. Those two have had good battles all season long, and Eric Kuntz had a good run of victories, and that string was snapped by Robert Cipriani-Dietrich and scored another one as he arrived at GP3R here for the first of 2 races.
Yeah, so Kuntz had won 5 races out of the first 6, and the only one to break that record was Cipriani-Dietrich, and again, yeah, visited victory lane at GP3R already. So can Cipriani-Dietrich make it 2 for 2 here on the streets of Trois-Rivières? That's a question still to be answered. Felix Kwok in 3rd, and again, Felix is making his debut this weekend behind the wheel of the M&S Autosport Honda Civic in the TCA class, and failed to finish in race number 1, but looking a lot sportier here in race number 2 as he fills that seat that was driven by Jonathan Young a year ago. And that's again, that's the ladder system that's developed here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada. Start in the TCA, learn your racecraft, learn what the race weekend entails, how they go about things, their race procedures, and then start going up through. The more you get comfortable, get into the faster cars.
That's what Justin DiBenedetto has done this year as well. After running in TCR, he has made the jump up into the GT4 category this year and has had some success. He's had to battle with Jack Polito, but did score a victory at GP3R in race number 1 of the weekend here. And also, it has allowed teams and drivers to move up a little further and to compete in the IMSA categories. Justin DiBenedetto and Travis Hill were competitors in the Sports Car Championship Canada. They combined forces and ran at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in the Michelin Pilot Challenge Series. Again, this is a way for teams to advance their careers.
Dean Baker teamed up with his son Sam Baker in a very cool story. So Dean Baker won the championship in the FEL SCCC presented by Michelin last year in the TCR class, and this year he's running limited races, mostly the CTMP Cup, which is a special championship series presented by Obligado Watches. And it was cool to see him team up with Sam, who had predominantly run Formula 1600 cars, so they got together to run some IMSA races, and yeah, it was just a neat story to watch this year.
Yeah, Sam has had some memorable runs in 1600. One of them here, as a matter of fact, I believe, trying to make a pass that kind of went awry. It may have been corner number 6, as a matter of fact.
It didn't go awry. As a matter of fact, he just locked up, it seems like, all the way down the back straightaway and stuck the pass. It was a great one. That car was almost on skis, but he managed to make it work. So yeah, we've seen Sam Baker run here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. In the past, he's actually worked for the social media team for the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. So a lot of the shots that you see shared on social media come from Sam Baker, and there you can see a slightly damaged number 38 of Megan Tomlinson.
But that car is on the flatbed getting removed. I believe the 26 has already been extricated. The car for Megan Leahy was running her first TCA weekend in the Sports Car Championship Canada. So we should have the safety car pulling off hopefully this time by. And we'll get back to a little bit of green flag racing in the little over 7 minutes we have remaining.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be too much longer as the sun starts to get a little bit lazy in the sky, and you can see dusk is now joining us here at the track. But that is affecting some of the visibility for some of these drivers. You can see it's a lot harder to see in some areas of the racetrack than others, but many of these drivers have their tinted visors on for this time of night because they're prepared for it and ready for that sun to start coming down. So Jack Polito is your leader in the GT4 class. Ron Tomlinson is the leader in the TCR, followed by Anthony Martella and Jocelyn Hebert. And then in TCA, it's Robert Cipriani-Dietrich, Eric Kuntz, and Felix Kwok, your top 3 in that class.
Drivers weaving back and forth, keep a little warmth and temperature into the tires. We'll wait and see if the lights go out on the pace car and whether or not he makes the left turn into pit lane. And we can get back to green flag racing and resume that terrific battle that we have seen in TCR between Ron Tomlinson and Anthony Martella and Jocelyn Hebert and Richard Bogue, all swapping positions, currently running 1, 2, 3, 4 with Tomlinson, Martella, Hebert, and Bogue. And Jonathan Young will also be closed up on the back of that battle now.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to watch here in the dying few minutes. So it'll be about 5 minutes to go when we go back to green, if that isn't what is going to be the case. The lights are off on the pace car. We saw a lot of the white flags being waved around the racetrack, indicating to the drivers that yes, in fact, the track is clear. We are going back to green as soon as possible. So it will be about 5 minutes when they reach the start-finish line to finish things up here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. The pace car down pit lane, Jack Polito, but the battle is right behind him for the lead in the TCA class. Keep an eye on that orange car of Eric Kuntz, and also keep an eye on the battle for the TCR lead. Peter Hansen in the 12 is in between the top 2 when they go to restart. But still very much up for grabs as the field reaches the front straightaway. The green flag is up, and away goes Peter Hansen. What a start for the driver of the 12.
It looked like the TCA cars almost were trying to be polite and stay out of the way of the quicker TCR cars, but it is still jumbled as they get through corner number 2 and now start to string out in single file headed for 3.
Hansen went from outside the top 3, and now he leads the TCA class in that 12, in contact with Anthony Martella. A broken rear wheel for the youngster in the Audi as he struggles to hang on and maintain control as they head towards turn number 6. Some parts and pieces falling off the number 95 of Anthony Martella, and he slows looking. Will he find the runoff area in turn number 6? No, he's going to try and get it back to the paddock area. We stay under green, though. And so Martella, who is battling with the 48 of Ron Tomlinson for the race win in the TCR, is now falling back. Where is Tomlinson? He's still out in front. There's Eric Kuntz. But I believe Tomlinson is now a comfortable gap ahead of this logjam of different class race cars.
What a jam up with 3 TCA cars right behind the 22 of Jack Polito in the GT4 category. And then it was the TCR cars trying to navigate their way through. And Anthony Martella has made his way into pit lane. And oh, what disappointment after a terrific run in race number 1. But race number 2 is going to end in tears with that late contact.
And how about for Peter Hansen, too? He was the leader of the TCA. He made contact there with Martella. And now he is sliding back as well. There's the contact that caused the damage to both of those race cars and a broken rear wheel or hub anyway. But yeah, what a job that driver, the 95, had to keep that car off the concrete wall. There's your leader in the TCR. Tomlinson is leading Jonathan Young, who sits second in the 8 car. Tom Kwok all the way up to 3rd spot as Richard Boak has fallen back a little bit in the number 84. But wow, what a change at the front of that field. And in the TCA class, Eric Kuntz is back up in front ahead of Robert Cipriani-Dietrich. And Peter Hansen has still hung around for a podium position in the 12.
Action happens on the restarts. The field is bunched up, and drivers will tell you it is the best opportunity to make a pass or make a bunch of passes and gain some positions. And it did work out very well for Jonathan Young, for Tom Kwok. It has not worked out nearly as well for Anthony Martella and others.
That statement comes with a but. Yes, it's a great opportunity to make positions, but it's a perfect opportunity to find trouble as well, as Anthony Martella did here. So another driver who goes from victory here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières in the first round. Second round, he will end up along pit lane with a broken race car.
Down to under 2 minutes remaining in this Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin race here on the streets of Trois-Rivières. And it remains Jack Polito out in front. A good fight still now between the 5 and the 25 of Robert Cipriani-Dietrich has caught the back bumper of Eric Kuntz. There is smoke coming from the back of that 5 Robert Cipriani-Dietrich. Is that a tire rub or is that something else that's more serious?
I don't know. It's blue smoke and it's coming from the front of that car. It might just be tire smoke from everybody getting jammed up together. The white flag waves. So Jack Polito has seen the white flag, but so has Ron Tomlinson. And important to note, Tomlinson has a 7-second gap on Jonathan Young. So this could potentially be, I don't want to jinx it, but this could potentially be the day that Ron Tomlinson steps on the top step of the podium.
Jack Polito continuing to circulate at, he can put it on cruise control from here on in. He has a long gap between himself and the next car on track, but it looks like it is going to be another victory for the 22.
Robert Cipriani-Dietrich has fallen down the running order, so whatever was smoking in that car, he's dropped way back from Eric Kuntz. Peter Hansen, Felix Kwok has gone by. So has Megan Leahy, who did manage to refire after making contact with the wall. But coming off in the final corner, the checkered flag waves. Jack Polito, the winner in GT4. And here he is, the number 48 off the final turn, visiting victory lane for the first time. Ron Tomlinson will win in the TCR class ahead of Jonathan Young and Tom Kwok. And Eric Kuntz in the 25 will work his way through the final set of corners. He can look in his mirrors and see he does have Peter Hansen back there, but well back and not in any position to challenge. The checkered flag in the TCA class goes to Eric Kuntz as he wins his 6th on the 2024 season. So there you have it, a big congratulations to the winner in the GT4 class. Jack Polito, as he wins his 7th in 8 races in 2024. Ron Tomlinson picks up win number 1, and what an emotional victory this is going to be for the driver of the 48. He's called the Iron Man, the longest streak of starting races in the TCR class for Ron Tomlinson, and he finally visits victory lane. And there you can see the 5 car of Robert Cipriani Dietrich is out of this one. It was not a tire rub. It was something terminal in the engine compartment in that Sanders Motorsports Subaru BRZ. But Eric Kuntz will take the win in the number 25 in the TCA. But wow, what a finish once again in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin.
I'm proud of you. You fucking put the car back together. You're the reason I got to race. Oh my God.
And so a big win, big handshake and a hug in pit lane from Jack Polito to his dad and crew chief, who did put that car back together after an incident in round number 1, as Polito thanking his crew just for getting him out there, and it's all it needed just to get it out there. He's been that good this year in the 22 car. Ron Tomlinson picking up his very first win in the 48 car. See other drivers coming through to congratulate the driver, the number 22. A few of these drivers going to have some teams, I should say, are going to have some work to do before they head back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. For the next round of the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. And that will be the next event on the schedule, and it's August 30th to September 1st for the next event on the Sports Car Championship Canada and the CTMT Cup. Separate championship within the championship for the drivers in the SCCC. But you can see this one was a hard-fought battle all the way through. Some drivers had a big learning day here at the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières. Some left in frustration. Others get to enjoy the spoils of victory. But a tough day on the streets of Trois-Rivières, Quebec, and it was right after that that the smoke started coming out of the Subaru BRZ of Robert Cipriani Dietrich before the checkered flag flew to crown the winners in all 3 divisions. Once again, folks, thanks very much for joining us. That'll cap our day here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières for all the winners here on a beautiful Saturday. I'm Dave Bradley for Todd Lewis and Joel Robinson. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll be back again tomorrow. So join us at 9 o'clock. We'll start a little bit before that, but the Modified Legends will be out on track for another feature starting the day off on a Sunday here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. But thank you very much for joining us all day on this action-packed Saturday at the 2024 edition of the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. I'm Dave Bradley. Have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.